Hello, my name is Sydney Gist. I'm a senior at Bosse High School, and today I want to talk to you about birthday in a box. 17,000. I want you to take a second and think about just how big this number actually is. Let's think about it in terms of money. What could we do with $17,000? We could do a lot of things, right? We could buy a car, put a down payment on a house, go on some nice vacations. The possibilities are endless. 17,000 people die from domestic violence every single year. 17,000 of these deaths could have been prevented. Domestic violence is an epidemic, and it needs to end. In Indiana, 44% of people who experience domestic violence never report their abuse out of fear, shame, or guilt. Domestic violence has such a deadly stigma around it. People always seem to ask, why didn't they leave, instead of asking, why did they abuse? Many people also feel it's not their place to involve themselves in a potentially abusive relationship, which just helps further that stigma and abuse towards it. But in reality, why should we even care about domestic violence? I feel like as a society, we tend to get into the mindset of, it's not me, it's not affecting me, so why should I care? This couldn't be any further from the truth. Domestic violence affects all of us. It affects our society, our community, our family, our friends, our world. 1 in 4 men and 1 in 3 women have experienced domestic violence at least once in their lifetime. There are 15 million children who have grown up in homes where domestic violence has occurred at least once. These children are at greater risk for repeating the cycle by entering abusive relationships or becoming abusers themselves. For example, a boy who grows up in a home where his father abuses his mother is 10 times more likely to abuse his female partner in the future. A girl who grows up in a home where her father abuses her mother is 6 times more likely to be a victim of sexual abuse. Children who experience domestic violence can also have various symptoms that correspond with it. That can include increased risk to depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, heart disease, self-harming, and so much more. So how do we help these children? Well, each child responds differently to the abuse that has occurred. Some are more resilient, some are more sensitive. The best way we can do this is to support these children. We have to help them understand that what happened to them is not their fault and they're not in it by themselves. Once children learn healthy ways to cope with their past trauma, the better their chances increase of becoming a healthy adult mentally and physically in the future. We also need to support children living in shelters. Children who live in shelters often live shortened childhoods. They take responsibility for younger children and lack age-appropriate activities. They're at 2 times the risk for learning disabilities, and most of the services in shelters are geared towards the parent. Children are often the silent survivors of domestic violence. They're escaping danger completely anonymously. We have to understand that that is for their safety, but there are downfalls that come with it. 97% of homeless children move at least once, many up to 3 times. Could you imagine living in a shelter, moving from place to place? You're all alone, you don't have any of your family or friends. Now imagine living in that shelter on your birthday. So that's where the idea for a birthday in a box came in. The first creation of this happened about a year ago. I applied for a $750 grant through Youth Resources and was able to make 50 boxes for children living in Albion Fellows Bacon Center, a local domestic violence shelter located in the Promise Zone. Here's a photo of the first creation of the birthday boxes. These boxes contain cake mixes, icing, cards, decorations, balloons, and so much more. I reached back out to Albion to see how these boxes went over. They told me they had gone through all 50 in less than a year. The children loved them. Some of the adults were requesting to use them for their birthdays, so Albion allowed them to do that. And there were many instances when the residents would get together and they would throw birthday parties, decorate the kitchen, bake the cakes, and throw these children a birthday party. One child said it was the best birthday they had ever had. I'm so grateful I was able to give them that opportunity, but also saddened that domestic violence had caused their birthdays to be bad in the past. So where do we go from here? Well, I would like to continue my education at UE and major in nursing. I'd also like to continue the impact that these boxes had on these children and expand to all shelters throughout the Promise neighborhood, like the YWCA and other shelters surrounding Evansville and the surrounding areas. I'd also like to expand these boxes not just for birthdays, but for holidays, graduations, and so much more. Each box costs around $15 to make, so I plan to get funds through grants and donations, and also work with sororities and fraternities and other clubs on the UE campus to help raise money. The change starts in this room. Every single one of us has the opportunity to help stand up and prevent domestic violence. We must speak up when we suspect violence, support survivors, offer resources, and not judge. We can't just point people in the right direction. We need to walk with them. Advocacy saves lives.